Happy Easter Monday, everyone. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brand as always. I have the ladies. Hello, Mariam.
Good morning.
How are you today? How was your Easter break?
Easter was...
Well, same old. We've been on break since 2 weeks anyway.
Home. Yes, we're at home. I just really felt bad for my kids. I'm like, since the last day my kids left school, they haven't been out of the compound. And, you know, no Easter bunnies and all the regular stories. But we tried to do some TV worship. That helped. Then we just tried to look for what to eat and everything.
Wow. How do you even do Easter?
No, don't even try us. We saw you in action.
Pounding yam.
You pounded yam.
So you did Easter.
You did Easter.
You did Easter.
I'm talking about the kids.
You did Easter.
But for me, is that, you know, when this year started, everybody was like, Vision 2020 vision.
Yeah.
We sort of knew what we were going to do this year, how it was going to go about. And what now we know what is important. And you know, at first I was like, well, it didn't work out. But I'm thinking it actually did, because now we're seeing clearer what is most important, who the sort of people that are most important. I think for many years we celebrated people that we shouldn't celebrate as much, like teachers, doctors, nurses, soldiers, police officers. Those are really the sort of people we should celebrate more than, you know, just entertainers. I mean, they're good as well, but I mean, these are people that are essential for survival, no matter the times.
How are you doing, Tokwe?
I'm very good. I'm very good.
I actually like your dress. It's beautiful.
Oh, so thank you. I had a fabulous Easter, and I'm not going to deny it to make some people feel good that they did have fabulous Easter, you know. But I'm grateful to God, from the worship to the food and everything, and I don't take it for granted. Really, like you said, we all had plans for the year, but I'm not surpelling any of my plans. I'm actually trying to turbocharge through what we can still do within this period. But I wanted to speak to our banks and the MDs, our government officials. What are we doing for small business owners? Because I don't have a loan that I'm financing, but I know many people with small businesses who've locked down for 3 weeks now, who have loans to finance. They have to pay monthly. And now that there's a difference in this entire March, April looks like we're not going to earn money, those banks will still withdraw at the end of the month. What is our government doing to support SMEs with the loan, with bank charges? This is a huge stress, and we didn't plan this. No company planned this. So if anybody is financing their loan, let's hear from the banks what they want to do to help small businesses.
Interesting, because internationally, globally, many companies are actually cushioning the effects of this on many loans. So I think it's something that
so when the banks give the money to the federal government, businesses need this money. They need this palliative.
But your charges, have you noticed? I've been getting credits instead. I'll check, but like the charges where you get the monthly debits, I've seen credits instead.
I've not seen them.
I haven't seen.
Wow.
They still removed my.
I'll confirm.
They still removed my card. They still removed. No, I haven't gotten.
Good.
Easter pounding of yam. Murayo, you have put all of us under pressure.
I don't understand what you mean by that. Listen.
If you can pound yam, they'll say, why can't I pound yam?
See these women.
See what Murayo has done.
They will sit down with you, discuss something, then go behind your back and just go
pound yam.
Holy Spirit. Actually, honestly, because we're trying to make Sunday our pounding yam day, because we just found that we don't usually eat as often. So we bought yam on Saturday, and it was really nice yam. I was like, okay, let us do it for. And then I started to pound, and honestly, it was my first time pounding. Don't act as if I've been doing this all my life. My first time pounding, and I pounded it, and I did it well. And you see, it's not rocket science. It's not as hard as people make it look. Trust me, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, I know. If you do it one time in a year, it's not hard. Imagine if you have to do it every Friday.
That would be a problem. But yeah, we had in yesterday with foodstuff. Very lovely. It was a good lunch. It was a good Easter. Anyways, I hope you guys had an amazing Easter as we did. But first, let's go on a break now. We'll go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're starting with The Nation. Patients Jonathan's hotel to become isolation center. 200-bed facility to be handed over today. Lagos discharges 5 patients. Foreign reserves dipped by $34.55 billion. Ogunmo's death penalty as police arrest 150 suspects. Nigerians celebrate Easter indoors. Churches locked. Kwara used 263 million naira recovered loot to buy ventilators and others. Good.
Oh, God.
And then he says, don't relax in antivirus battle. I wish I read that story. Kwara State.
Quickly.
No.
Yes, so we have excuse. Please, the General Overseer of Redeem Christian Church of God, RCCG. In his speech yesterday, broadcast on Dove TV, he mentioned the fact that, and I wanted to quote, he said, I would advise that we should remain on our guards. It would be unwise to relax too soon. And when I said relax, I'm not talking about being anxious. I'm talking about becoming careless. So his message was that God is there, God is watching, God is protecting us, He would guide us, He would not let us have the huge figures that we've been hearing about, and our God is alive. But most importantly, we shouldn't relax our guards now because we think that it's not as bad. We shouldn't be anxious, but we should be careful. And I think that's an important message for...
I like that. Do not be careless.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So, Kwara State Governor, according to the media and publicity acting head, Mr. Tony Orilade, said, and I quote, the governor has made a disclosure that when he was given an update, said that as efforts to bring an end to coronavirus disease in Nigeria, they have been able to acquire ventilators and setting up the isolation centers as part of their strategic activities to combat the disease. Wow.
How very thoughtful. Please.
263 million naira.
So I don't want to say anything unless when we have audited account of how much it costs to get all this equipment. We believe them for now.
We believe you. Patience, Jonathan, please. Our former president's wife, the first lady, has struck a deal with Aisha Buhari. Yes, and the idea is that do her pet project, the Future Assured program, entered into a separate agreement with the president's wife, allowing for the 200-bed hotel to be used as an isolation center.
That's fantastic.
I really like this sort of relationship these two women,
I'm happy they still communicate.
Exactly. We saw them taking pictures together, and to see it materialize in this form is good. Well done, ladies.
So the Ogun State governor is considering death penalty for the lot of unrest going on within Ogun State right now. They arrested 150, and they were paraded by the Commissioner of Police, Kenneth Ebrimson. He spoke to reporters, but the governor is saying that because they want to make this a strong deterrent for criminal and criminal-minded individuals in the state, they might be giving them death sentence for the cultists and the robbers that were caught and paraded yesterday.
Okay, moving on to the Punch very quickly. Nigeria's testing capacity very low. Enemy nurses, others warn. One killed as hoodlums police clash in Osun. Residents turn vigilantes as hoodlums raid Ogun, Lagos communities. Ex-commissioner recants Kwara hits hard as ventilators claim. Akeredolu accuses police of collecting bribes at Ondo boundaries. 5G controversy, Oyakilome recants cites health risks. No reopening of schools yet, FG tells Nigerians. And petrol price would further drop by 8 naira per litre, says marketers.
Too many stories.
The major headlines. Let's go ahead.
Okay, do we take the major headlines or do you want the human interest?
Let's start with the human interest.
Yeah, so 2 teenage boys sadly died yesterday. Dare, 16 years old, and Fawaz. They lived in Ekpelemeje Orofun community in Ibejuleki. I'm so sorry. And they had gone to swim. And while they were swimming, they lost their lives. And, well, the police that investigated it, they said, first of all, you know, it's really sad that they did not stay at home and took themselves out on a day like this to the beach. And you know one thing, because everybody is at home, really, there won't have been anybody to help them when they found themselves, you know, in troubled waters, as they say. The major headline as well.
Nigeria's testing capacity is very low.
Yeah, so the Nigerian Medical Association, NAM, that's the nurses and midwives, Nigerian Medical and Dental Associations, all of them are just, you know, talking about the situation as it is right now with the fight against COVID-19. And most of the story is we need to decentralize our testing centers. So I think for most of the places in the north, they still have to go to Abuja before they get results. The results are not coming in.
We're saying this from day one. From day one, we need to decentralize it. And let me look at the figures they gave us. It's saying that Nigeria has only tested 5,000. Ghana has tested 37,954. Yeah. South Africa has tested over 80,000. Nigeria, the giants of Africa, has only tested 5,000.
So the reason we have little number.
And also we're having more communal infections. So it's spreading more than we think.
And the reason we don't have, the numbers seem small, is because we haven't tested enough.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, I know people that have sent me personal messages that they've reached out to NDDC having COVID-19 symptoms, and they got phone call from them that said that if they had no direct contact with anybody that just came back, and anybody that has confirmed case, they should stay at home.
I think we moved from that level now.
Also, I think also what I read, I just lost my train of thought, because part of the issues they're having is the fact that they're unable to trace, which you just said right now. There was another point I was going to make, but let's move on to Vanguard. COVID-19 NCDC under fire for test slow response. We talked about that already. Why federal government digitizing payments to the poor, says Omar Farouk. Imbibe values of Christ, Buhari, governors, others tell Christians on Easter. Don't play with politics. Don't play politics with COVID-19, IBB tells politicians. And Lagos discharges 5 more patients, which is great news.
Great news. Congratulations to all the 5 patients and their families.
Yes. And we must commend the governor of Lagos State. He's constantly updating us. I mean, you see, that's what we are requiring of leaders. As much as we understand there's so much happening on the front line, but give us information, which I think the Lagos State government has done a good job. And that's been good. And we would like the same from the federal government also. Daily Sun, churches on lockdown as Christians worship online. COVID-19 clinical trials showing promising results, says NCDC. Investors loot 1.8 trillion naira, seek government intervention. Alleged molestation of Nigerians, Chinese government defend action. Palliatives bishop takes on federal government, and tension over robberies in Lagos and Ogun State. Okay, so
the Chinese is defending. We remember the video that made the rounds around social media, where it seemed like some Africans, especially Nigerians, were being targeted by these Chinese officials and being discriminated against and being forced to do like double quarantine. That's from the videos that we saw. The speaker sat down with the ambassador of China, and the Chinese official defended what they're doing in China. He says, as far as he's concerned, there's nothing that they're doing wrong, and that they do not discriminate against race, that there are some guidelines that they have put in place in China, and they're asking everybody to please abide by those. And so those officials were meant to enforce what they had put.
That's good.
Yeah.
I have the COVID case from the NCDC speaking up on trials being ongoing, and the NCDC boss in a tweet said that there were some promising trials ongoing and that people should avoid self-medication as it might lead to complication and death. But the Minister for Health mentioned that the treatment isn't one. There's no one blanket treatment for COVID-19. That treatment varies because it's a viral infection from patient to patient, and the medical doctors administer specific treatment to the display of symptoms and ailments by each patient. Another good news we have is that NAFDAC has ordered stock up of a lot of chloroquine, not asking you to go and buy and use. NAFDAC has ordered it to be stocked up because there's internal research going to see how that might be used to prevent going forward or cure.
And I've just been informed that indeed that the Presidential Task Force does have a daily press briefing to actually inform. So it's not just the Lagos State government, it's important for us to note that. And actually that task force includes the Minister of Health. And they give us a daily briefing on that, so it's not just the Lagos State government. Moving on now very quickly to the Nigerian Tribune. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have enough time, but let me just take the papers very quickly. How coronavirus exposed failings on Nigeria's healthcare system. FG terrorizing our members with hunger over IPPIS, says ASU. And we see our governor here praying. Yes, I was watching that same service on Gov TV. Unrest police arrest 150 suspects. And let's just take that story you're interested in.
Please, so the ASU, I've gotten personal messages from members of ASU saying that they are dying of hunger because the federal government hasn't paid them for February and March.
Are they on IPPIS?
Are they on the...
Because they're not on IPPIS does not mean that you should starve them, that it's akin to terrorism, not to pay them their salaries, that what the government is doing is compelling and forcing the member through intimidation to submit and lies. So please...
Wait. Last time I checked on this same table, we've been reading this since December.
Yes.
That if you don't get on IPPIS by a certain time, you're not being paid. We've been hearing this over and over. Now that you've not been paid,
that means you made the choice not to be paid.
They're saying that they don't have a choice.
No,
because
the
protest they have is concerning the funds. And because of COVID, we can't talk about it. But even within this COVID, with the lockdown, lecturers are not being paid.
And the government seems to be
the people on the payroll, are they being paid? If
people on the payroll are not being paid.
People on the IPPIS are being paid.
Yes.
Number two, the last time I heard this conversation, that we had this conversation, was that both IPPIS and the software that the ASU actually had were coming together to have a conversation. That was the last I read. So what happened to that?
They haven't had that conversation. So because they haven't had that conversation, people are suffering. Many lecturers are suffering.
The federal government said they were waiting for them to bring that software and they never showed up.
It hasn't come up yet.
Anyway, let's not speak for the federal government. Let us just know that.
I know it was in the papers, that's what they said.
And we know lecturers are important now because if lecturers are not teaching, we will not have doctors and nurses to take care of you on the front line.
All lecturers are asked to do is get on the IPPIS and you get paid. Simple. There's no two way about it.
And they made the choice.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll discuss a few of the impacts of the lockdown in the last 2 weeks. There's been quite a bit of violence in Lagos State and Ogun State. We'll be bringing in the Commissioner for Police to tell us what they're doing to help reduce that within the state. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So today makes it the last day, actually, of the lockdown, according to what our president had said last week. However, he did say that we have to continue the lockdown as much as we can, based on what is required by the professionals. But the president has said that we're not going to go back on the extension because of the ongoing issues of the COVID-19. We'd like to hear your own views on the last 2 weeks of the lockdown, because we've been hearing quite a bit of reports. Aside from people complaining about palliatives, there's been also another issue that stuck out to us, and the fact that the mortuaries, the morgues, are actually complaining that they're having dead bodies lying on the floors now. They're being overwhelmed. And that's because many people are refusing to bury their dead in the midst of this COVID-19 lockdown. They would rather the lockdown is lifted and then they can have a proper befitting burial. But then the conversation then arises, would you advise people at this point to have that small, less than 20 burial where at least the dead can actually rest? And then you can have your party later or something. But
just for clarity,
go ahead.
Those that had died not from COVID-19.
So those that died naturally or for different reasons. And then, so the morgues are getting crowded. And that's one of the effects of the current lockdown we have. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, have you heard those reports, and what comes to mind when you
I've seen videos showing that morgues are being overrun right now with bodies. And I think, for a lot of people, we know that when we bury our dead, it's a celebration of life. It's like our last respect. So I can understand when you have lost a loved one, you want to do it right by them. It's like an honor that you give them. Right. But the sad situation is that a lot of things will change, I think, going forward, especially given what we're going through right now. And I think that it will be more honorable, in my opinion, it will be more honorable to bury your dead as soon as you can, instead of being, piled up with other bodies. And then after this thing is over, can properly celebrate the person, In the end, truthfully, it's just the body that's there.
But in Africa,
Yeah, that's what I said.
Africa, death is really important to us. It's such an important celebration for us, especially in Lagos State. I mean, trust me, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
So personally, I have always had reservation about how we celebrate burials and celebrating, quote unquote, the dead. I've always been a proponent, especially on this show, right from day one, about how our concern should be with how well we treat these our beloved fathers and mothers when they were alive. So I'm not a party to keeping dead bodies still where you can do a party and all of that. But Mariah mentioned something upstairs in Makeup when we're thinking about this, about the fact that people have relatives that are abroad. And genuinely, if a person dies and most of the children are in other countries, they can't have the burial without the people. You can't bury the head without the body. So for me, I think that if we're complaining of having excess bodies at the morgues, it goes beyond just saying let them just bury their dead. It goes to how well we didn't plan, we didn't know this would come up. What can we do now to plan? Because we can't expect everybody to bury their dead, obviously. Some people can't be around to bury the dead, so there have to be some short-term plans to preserve the bodies better, pending when we will get out of this crisis.
What can we do to support the mortuaries? I mean, they would definitely need help right now because I saw a few pictures. Some of them actually had these bodies on the floor.
Yeah.
You know,
so
I guess they obviously need maybe freezing equipment to at least to help to support them at this time.
I think the mortuaries already have a way to preserve the dead, but the problem is when you're overwhelmed. This is what happens. What may happen is that people will go into the business. They will have more private mortuaries. Do you understand? Because a lot of people have the mortuaries attached to like a hospital. So maybe that is what would happen. And then people who can afford it, because I'm sure those private ones would not be cheap at all, then they can keep the bodies there until such a time when they can bury
to
them.
actually restart and reopen the mortuary, an old one that maybe somebody has
not working anymore.
Not working. Because the truth is that people are overwhelmed at this point.
Yes, and another thing is that because of the lockdown, activities have slowed down, which means that people are not even thinking in terms of, well, I don't want to expose myself. Me going to the mortuary means that I'm going to be meeting a doctor, meeting a nurse, or meeting people there, and we're all supposed to stay at home. So I feel that we would like to hear one from the government and hear from personal people on why they feel this should continue the way it is, because we really there needs to be a stopgap.
Going on the conversation on the impact of the lockdown, other impact, which you said earlier, people having the businesses, they're not earning money. You see, right now we're all home, acting as if we're on holidays. But we have no idea what's going to happen post-lockdown. Because the truth is that businesses are going to be the same. People make up businesses, hopefully, people be ready to go to parties. Will they still see parties as they are seeing parties
priority.
now?
Would it be priority?
Yes,
I've been telling everybody that we don't know some people already are seeing the effect. Most people will feel the effect at the end of March, at the end of April, because most people still got paid a bit in March.
Yes.
But by April, when the income comes in or is less or no income comes in, then we will see the impact. And while we're hearing palliatives to the very poor, at the end of April, it won't be palliative to everybody, it's palliative to everybody, because it will be impacting everybody. We are eating. For those that can afford it, they are eating on a daily basis. I've been telling my husband, I say, we're eating, this food we're eating, you know, but that's because we cannot. But other people can't even afford to eat. So even if those that can afford that are what the government is thinking, these are not my problem, they have money or they can afford it. By end of April, they would be your problem. Everybody is going to be your problem. And so we need to be able to get into that space and start thinking ahead. I know nobody planned for this, but can we start thinking ahead right now?
Okay, so okay, for me, like thinking ahead, what would happen is that it would require of Nigerians to personally do something for communities. I saw a particular post online, and it showed that there's a particular, this is in America, there's a particular day, like a seniors day. They go into the stores and they do their shopping, and Tyler Perry paid for all the seniors that shop that day. So what would happen is that in our society, we have people who will be able to weather this storm of staying at home. They have that sort of money and they have that sort of resources. We may need to start looking to them, or they need to start looking to themselves on how they can help government, you know, provide palliatives for those around them and their community.
Okay, let me take this call from Obafemi. Obafemi, thanks for calling in. Could you tell us a few of the impacts of the lockdown? Thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Good morning, ma.
Morning.
Good morning.
One time caller.
Welcome to the show, Femi.
All right, yeah. See, it has been very, very, very huge. Like, what I would just want to say is that government needs to do more, because the way the whole thing is going, like, you know, you hear from Ogun State, you hear from some parts of Lagos State, the way these guys, all these Agbero boys, they have something to back on. Every day they get the money from, you know, this Agbero thing. But now they have nothing to do. And at this point in time, what they need to do is just to be doing all sorts of nonsense. It's been very, very huge. And the government too need to do a lot of things. They need to do a lot of things with regard to this issue. We want them to just try to eradicate this mindset that people will keep having this fear that coronavirus is huge. I really applaud Kwara State. They will give us the whole analysis. When you say we have 318 cases, we have probably 10 deaths, and we have like 70 recoveries. So out of the remaining numbers, what is the condition? For instance, how many people are meant to be discharged? How many people have been tested positive, but now they are negative? They need to give us the real numbers so that they will not give us the huge number and people are like, oh, we have 318.
Gotcha.
And
all right. Point taken. Thank you very much.
Okay, just to be fair, the NCDC actually sends messages to our phones almost every day or every time there are updates. And also, if you follow them on Facebook, there's a where you can follow and ask. They would ask you if you would like to receive updates on what's happening. So NCDC is actually doing that, giving the information. And as we already discussed, Lagos State is doing that. But, you know, talking about impact, the other impact is that another thing is a lot of people who do not have the virus, who are ill for, you know, have different illnesses, have complained of not getting the proper treatment that they need when they get to the hospital. Or, you know, some people have said that they've asked many of them to leave the hospitals, you know, and they're at home taking care of themselves. Many people do not even know what to do. So now I do not have, maybe I have like a heart issue or I have something else I've been dealing with.
Maybe pregnant.
Yeah, and that's another one. That one, we got a message. Someone says, you know, I am pregnant, but I can't go for my antenatal. I have to wait until I'm in labor to have my child. So those are the problems that we have. And this, for me, in this case, is where the government has to step in. If you have some hospitals attending to coronavirus, we should have some hospitals open to attend to all those that may have other issues, that, especially if they've already been in the hospital, they already have appointments, they should be able to do that.
We have to go on a break because we're still on the impact of the lockdown. And part of the impact is the fact that, just like our last caller, lots of boys out there, insecurity across the state, Ogun and Lagos especially. And a lot of people are living in fear right now, and they can't even come out of their houses, especially in those regions. We're going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll get the CP of Lagos State on the phone to see what's been done to help curb this. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So some residents in Ogun and Lagos State are lamenting over the rising criminal activities occasioned by the lockdown in the states. In the last few days, we learned that robbers, mainly young persons, dispossessed residents of their cash, phones, foodstuff, and other belongings. Even in the daytime. Joining us on the show now is the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Hakeem Odumosu. Good morning, sir. Are you there? Okay, I'm told he's not here yet, but so what have you heard? I mean, when I saw the pictures of a food van being robbed of yams.
So I'm waiting to hear from the commissioners of police for Lagos State and Ogun, because we knew this was going to happen. As in, we knew this was going to happen. We have too many boys on the street whose livelihood was to collect money from bus drivers, Okada riders, and all of that. They didn't have a job. So how did you expect for 2 weeks, how would they get their food? The height of it is when the van we saw said they took yam and food stuff. They were taking, it was hunger robbery. So there is the one of definitely criminals and all of those that are even carrying out major attacks in people's houses and taking money. But to the extent of just taking yam and pepper, we knew it was going to happen. And when we were considering palliatives, I didn't hear any of the governors and all our leaders thinking about giving palliatives to Agberos. But they are a large chunk and they are voting publics. Whenever you go for any campaign, you see the Agberos are the ones, they canvass for politicians and they are voting. So how were they captured in palliatives? How were they sensitized to say, calm down, no, we will give you food daily? Because we knew that they were ready hands to be used anyway, and we should have captured them.
I get you. But regardless of the fact that they were not captured, if they weren't, does that give them that? Does that give them the impetus to actually go and rob? I don't understand.
We know it's wrong now.
Because it is wrong. What is wrong is wrong.
Yeah.
And the truth is that crime is crime, and that's why it's important for us to speak to the Commissioner for Police, because people in those regions are feeling quite unsafe at this time. And I was even hearing that landlord associations are coming together. They are holding vigilantes.
Yes.
I mean, they are forming vigilante groups,
in their
and they have
neighborhoods.
to stay all night to watch their neighborhoods. Now, the worst things I'm even hearing is about raping women.
Yeah, that's
and
what
that's
was
a
going.
problem.
Good.
So this is just almost getting to a point of anarchy, and you're thinking there's a breakdown of rule and order.
Yeah, you know, Mariah, I understand where Tope is coming from, which is you have people who depended on daily livelihood and you had to do something. But it would be unfair to say that all the Agberos that are on the streets breaking and robbing people. Not all Agberos are criminals. So criminals are criminals. And then, you know, yes, there's hunger, and it's important that we find a way to reach that group of people. But as you said, we have people complaining that not only, this is not about food, they are raping our mothers and our daughters. They are, you know, coming into our homes and stealing not just food, you know, so these are just people who have taken advantage of the lockdown. They understood that people will be at home or people will not be on the streets. And for me, I just thought that the police, it will be easier for police to handle this now because there are less people on the streets. So you're able to tell immediately who the person is. If you're not meant to be where you are, you can tell exactly if, you know, you're a criminal or not.
Which is why we should
it's
have
good,
clocked the CP in Ogun
yeah,
States.
Yeah, so also families have had to do this on their own. They're protecting their families on their own. I heard that a particular community had to set a bonfire in order to, you know, scare these people. So I think the police should just quickly, and I'm sure that they will do that from today.
Okay, so I'm
just
told
quickly,
the Commissioner for Ogun State Police, Commissioner of Police for Ogun State is actually on phone right now. Okay. Mr. Kenneth Ebrimson, good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, good to have you. So I'm sure you know of all the issues happening in E4 and all the other areas, regions, where young guys have come out to begin to rob the neighborhoods. What are you doing so far to curb this?
I thank you very much for giving me this platform.
Yes, sir.
And it's very, very expedient that I need to lay the fears of the good citizens of Ogun State.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you that what we are dealing with now is panic. Panic and paying attention to those spreading the fear. As I speak to you now, I moved from E4 yesterday with my team, from E4 to Ota, from Ota to Agbado Railway Crossing, Okiaro, Ojoko. And all this movement I have made, there's no one single crime statistics that indicated that somebody was robbed, somebody was kidnapped, somebody was injured in all these heights we have had.
But we saw videos.
Hello?
We saw videos from some of these regions. There were videos circulating on social media on this.
No, when you see videos of people setting bonfire, that does not translate to attack.
Okay.
The people burning the fire are the people creating the apprehension.
Okay,
Because
sir.
I know situations where I have personally drafted DPOs, patrol vehicles. When they get to that point, they meet young boys burning fire. And I have the opportunity of speaking to them through the phone of my patrol commander that the police is in control, that what they are doing is actually aggravating the fear. And if, for instance, let us agree that they are doing burning fire, you know, we have the philosophy of community policing. We are partnering with critical stakeholders, community leaders. So if they come out to partner with police,
right,
in terms of prevention of crime,
right,
in terms of intelligence and information gathering, and resolving crisis, I think
all right, let me get in a few questions for you, sir.
Let
me get in. Go ahead. Tope.
So, CP, we have reports in the papers today that 150 people were paraded yesterday. and that there were 6 to 7 rival cult groups that were causing disturbance within Ogun State. That is a report that you gave. So when people say that they are having difficulty, having robbery, can this be linked to the fact that even you acknowledge that there's been an increase in crime since and cult activity since the 4th of April?
Anytime in point of my press release say that there is increase in crime. What I said is that we are battling with cult supremacy. And I mentioned some of the groups we have profiled and got. I mentioned Bese Boys. I mentioned Sahara Boys. I mentioned Federal Boys. It is only coming up because at this time there is a lockdown. We have been on the trail of these boys for a very long time, and we have been picking them.
So what you're saying in essence, sir, is that there are no robbery activities going on right now, that they just some boys causing panic.
Quote me right. I said up to this time of this interview I am granting you, there's no one single report of robbery.
So there's no report, not that there was no robbery.
Okay.
Or attack or injury on anybody.
Okay. All right.
The basic issue we are contending with is that of called supremacy battle.
Okay.
Which we started from Info and it snowballed up to Agbado.
Okay.
And we are giving them a fight for their money.
Let me get in one more question for you. Go ahead, Mary.
So CP, okay, so CP, these cult activities, what are you saying that this is just fight amongst themselves? They are not in any way affecting the neighborhoods that they come from or people that live in the areas that they come from?
Obviously, when you know there's any area that is distressed in terms of cult activities, automatically the coloration of the neighborhood will change. There will be apprehension. So as I speak to you, we have embarked on what I call fear reduction patrol, whereby our officers are patrolling street to street. We have commenced convoy patrol. We have commenced show of force this morning, combined with Aberdeen system, where our boys are patrolling areas, communities, street to street, as I speak to you. That one is ongoing. So allay the fears of the citizens. All
right, great. Final question.
So how accessible are you and the police officers within Ogun? Is there like a number you would give right now on live TV so that those within those areas, because we on social media have seen reports of robbery and attack, but obviously it hasn't been reported. So if in case there's a gap between attack and reports, can you give a number now that people can take and call if anything like such happens?
I have received more calls than you. And each of these calls I responded, they turned out to be a false alarm.
Okay.
However, let me give this number for avoidance of doubt and purpose of clarity.
Right.
Yesterday, when I addressed the press conference at IFO, I read out the emergency phone numbers beginning from me to my DPOs, my area commanders, and tactical commanders. But let me give you the control room number, 080.
Go ahead, sir.
080.
Right.
81.
81.
77. Yes, 8177.
77.
0416.
0418.
0416.
0416. Okay.
080.
Okay.
That's another one.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
81.
Yes.
77.
Right.
04.
Okay.
19.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir.
Please, let me just give me one second.
Yes.
Please, I urge everyone setting up bonfire with tires in their street in the name of protecting the communities to disease from it, as it's causing panic amongst residents.
Okay.
As I speak to you, police tactical teams, mobile policemen have been deployed to all the areas where these alarms are coming. And as I speak to you, I can confidently tell you that they are on the ground.
Okay,
but
fantastic.
for the avoidance of doubt, that is my number. Call me.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll try to get the Commissioner for Police because we've got to report. Commissioner for Police in Lagos State. Because we've got reports in Lekki, we've got reports from Agege, we've got reports from so many parts of Lagos State that seem to be boiling and people are scared. And we really need to speak to the Commissioner. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Joining us on the show now is the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Hakeem Odumosu. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning, Lagosians.
Good to have you on the show with us. So,
thank you.
We've been hearing reports of unrest in Agege, in different parts of Lagos. I even got an audio recording of a woman in Lekki saying that the boys are on the streets asking for money, and she's scared that they won't be asking again, that they'll be taken because the way they are, you can see they're angry and they're hungry. Sir, I'm sure you've gotten most of these reports already. What have you done so far, especially in these hotspots we've mentioned?
Well, we have not limited our security architecture to Agege and Lekki Axis. So the two videos you referred to, so I have the video, analyzed the video. Starting from Agege on, I just believe that it was an exaggeration and so raising false alarm. Actually, 3 days ago, there was what I now call pandemonium, maybe from Lagos Ogun end. But because it has border with Lagos, many people thought that it was from Lagos. Okay. But being a police officer and a duty to protect life and property, I deployed my men from Lagos State here to make sure that people's life and property are safe, even outside Lagos State Police Command territory. And we succeeded in doing this. Arrests were made. We fortified the borders. And we contacted my counterpart, Commissioner of Police in Ogun State. We call it drafted the instrument to that area. Since then, it has been peaceful at the border towns. But those in Agege, Akowojo, Egbeda, so talking about Alpha and La, so talking about, hello?
Yes, we can hear you very clearly.
So talking about Alpha and La, talking up to Ayobo, so they became apprehensive. And the youth in those communities who came out, so saying that they want to defend themselves. So from any attack from Ogun State. That was what happened. It's the youth that they saw on the road who are trying to defend themselves should there be any attack that people saw, that created the tension, and they started releasing so many videos. So they started calling for distress call.
Right.
But that's notwithstanding.
Right.
So it's a clarion call. And we moved in immediately.
Okay.
We increased the patrol vehicle and mobilized from other area commands. The military men, I called them because we worked together hand in hand. So the Army, the Navy, the Air Force went on.
Have any arrests been made at all?
We made arrests. So far, we have about 39 arrests made. We're closing the for yesterday and yesterday. Because there's lockdown, they are not to go with arms. And we saw them not with firearms, with machetes. So they want to defend with sticks. And with cordial, no, this is completely unacceptable.
Okay, all right, let me get in a few more questions
Commissioner,
for you.
Sir, so what you're saying is that we haven't had any reported cases of armed robbery. So nobody in their homes or anything have been attacked at all.
So far, there's not been any complaint from anybody. Just not that apprehension, they are coming. So that's the apprehension that made people say they want to form vigilante. But we patrol around throughout the whole night. Up to now, we still have our cover patrol. We still have our show of force to let people know that police is up to the task and be assured of their lives and property.
Okay.
So, sir, I want to ask you, because we have a tweet from someone right now that said she tried to make a report and that she went to the Dokpemu police station and went to the Cement police station and there was nobody in the station for her to report to. Is there a way for you to confirm if this was true or not? That
well, I will confirm. So there's something like that. Because
she said last night I went to Dokwemu and I went to Cement police station and both were empty.
So to add to that question, do you have enough men either in the stations or on the roads?
We have both in the station and the road. What we did since this COVID-19 started, we have mobilized our personnel in the investigation unit, our personnel in the administrative section, so that into this, our personnel in the traffic section now, we have mobilized all of them. That has given us additional manpower, which we have deployed. And equally, we have called out the mobile men that are usually not on the road, unless there are crises like this, we call them out. Are
you making use of the neighborhood watch corps that we have in Lagos State, at least to help out?
If you go to almost all the roadblocks that we have now, neighborhood watch personnel are there, civil defense are equally there. So we have enough personnel.
Okay.
And the stations too, we have men to guide them and to keep them running.
All right.
We don't close our facilities because of this. No. We do a normal police routine assignment.
Sometimes when police officers go to enforce this stay-at-home policy, it seems like the police officers themselves don't take that social distancing into consideration. So you are found in the cars more than, squashed in the car. And usually when we see you, we don't see you with your mask or your gloves or, PPE. And also we're wondering, are you getting tested? What's happening with the police force in enforcing the social distancing, whilst it seems that you're not practicing it yourselves?
No, we do practice it. Because mostly if you go now to air police formations, you have buckets of water there with soap for anybody coming in and moving out. And even we could have the measurement of the temperature. And equally, we have sanitizers almost everywhere. So anywhere that you go to now, you can go and conduct an investigation. You see that all police formations, they have that.
Sir, me, I can tell you categorically, I have driven around Lagos State. Not one police has a face mask.
Oh, I saw one.
Yes,
so I met the DPO. The DPO of
the first one we are talking about. So the few that we are able to get from the comment from the state government now, we have distributed them. So, and we are expecting more. As once they give to us now, it's not something to be sold.
Okay.
But this thing just came up all of a sudden now. Right. And it takes a longer time for the government now to get all these things ready. So as they trickle to us now, we give to them. And, many people don't even believe that there's this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me just get a final question for you.
I don't believe. Personally, they keep all this. So that's why they have it. They keep on appealing to their conscience. As for the patrol vehicle, we have reduced now. So we have only 4. So the patrol commander sitting beside the driver, and the 2 others now sitting behind. The leftovers now come right behind the cabin, so as to make sure that the society...
Okay, let me pause you for a second. I have to go on a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Commissioner, are you still there?
Yes, I'm
okay. Very good. We'll be just, Topper, go ahead.
Sir, I had the pleasure of interfacing with the K2 DPO, who definitely had a nose mask, and a few other policemen around him who had no nose mask. And I interfaced to the extent of entering inside the bus that looked like it wasn't cleaned or disinfected. It was actually dirty. And I'm saying this because I realized that I'm worried for our policemen, because I engaged one of them and I said that if I had COVID-19 and I sneeze into this bus, everybody that carries it is at risk. Everything we're touching, we touch our faces, we're not protecting ourselves. And the response I got from the police officer was, God forbid, now you go get him. You know if it happened to me. You know if it happened to me. And I was shocked because I showed my ID card, so he knew I was a media person. And I felt this information should have been trickled down to everybody to understand that it's not, we can't, like Adeboye that the GO said, we can't become careless. We can't think that, we have God, we are safe, which was the response I got from policemen in Lagos that were saying this. And the bus wasn't sunny, and this bus carries everybody. So Sir, beyond us just getting defensive and saying we are prepared, I am worried for the lives of our police officers, and I think that more can be done to sensitize them, disinfecting the buses that are carrying people, and going forward, what will you do to assure Nigerians that when they get arrested by police officers, they are not going to be exposing themselves to likelihood of being infected? Thank you.
I appreciate that your concern, and I appreciate the interest you have in the lives and property of policemen. So very few people have this. Now, straight to your question now, before we started this, before the clampdown from the federal government, proud to depend that the state government made its own partial clampdown. So we organized seminar to all the police officers in Lagos Command, from one division to another. Remember that we have our own medical team, and even the doctor and the medical team in Lagos State is part of the COVID-19 team of Lagos State. So we went on advocacy, so the area commanders, the DPOs now, sensitization, and we move around all divisions, all the area commands. So lecture them on the importance of this and the implication of not protecting themselves, and even not using the few things that we give to them. They should not look at it as inconveniencing them. That why will I put a mask on and look like a masquerade? But this is a health issue. So we keep on talking to them, and we keep on advocating, just like everyone in Nigeria, that the dirty Thomases should know that COVID-19 has come to stay.
All right, so we have to round up with you, but I'd just like you to give us a final word. So what you're telling Nigerians and Lagosians especially is that the police has everything under control. What happened in Agege, that 39 boys have been arrested for the uproar, the cause there, and there has been no robbery attack or the reports of robbery in homes so far. That's
much I give, and I want to tell all Lagosians that they should go about their lawful businesses. Those who are not exempted from the presidential directive should learn how to stay indoors. Those who are exempted now should have to do it with decorum. So all the areas that, as permission comes in, we have taken care of Lekki access now. With that video that went viral yesterday, my policemen are there. You cannot see that bottle, that group of people now. So as they get information, they tell us.
All right.
Finally, I want to appeal to the conscience of Lagosians. COVID-19 is real. We should try as much as possible to follow the regulations laid down by various tiers of government so that collectively we can control this epidemic from spreading and return back to a normal life sooner than expected.
All right. Thank you very much.
Nigeria, better environment, and healthy country.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We've been speaking with the Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumosu. Right, so let's take a few tweets. I know Nigerians will have so many thoughts on this because we've been getting different responses and reactions to what our guests have said. Go ahead, Mariam.
Okay, so we have a Mosokpe Folua says, concerning how to get medical attention during this lockdown, people can use the medical app Pre-Vedoc to get medical attention and get a doctor across to them. Lockdown, Mercy of Onime says, lockdown without food. People like us that are depending on daily salary, what are we going to do? We need food, money to take care of my mom and siblings. We also have a lot of people are expressing that they do not believe what these commissioners are saying. So I'm getting that, you know.
Gracie says, I'm sorry to say that the CP isn't hitting the nail on the head. Oftentimes, the police are our major problem in this country. Jay Shabak says, please help us tell the police force that the one he's saying is his own.
Okay, let me then ask Nigerians directly. Please call us. If you have been robbed in the last 1 week as a result of this lockdown,
yes,
call TVC. Give us that report. Let us then find out connection with the police. Because we hear, my neighbor, something happened. I heard gunshots. Then somebody said, they said, he said, she said. Nobody has really come out to say. Because the police are saying, they have told us now that there have been no case of actual robbery. None. What they've seen are boys going out there, causing bonfires, causing issues, cult issues. So we're having a few of these cases. So let us know. Do we have a case, Maria?
Yes. So Adegbite Dowu says, in my area in Meron, armed robbers are shouting at night and telling us to come out if we are bold enough. Even the Meron police were out to support the CDS to distribute tires for community policing, not cultist issue, robbery, sir. So
okay, let me take Kemi. Kemi, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good morning.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
I need to appreciate you guys. You are really doing wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
program is so informative, and we like that at this point in time.
Hello? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hello, can you hear
Yeah,
me?
go ahead, please.
Yes, the commissioner that spoke earlier, I don't agree with him.
Okay.
Because as at yesterday night, we watched on TVC News when they were interviewing people that were really robbed in Okoba and Olambe. So for him telling us that no crime has been reported or noticed, I don't totally agree. This is not the right time to play with people's lives. You understand? This is not the right time to...
Have been interviewed that they were robbed. Did they file a complaint or a report to the police? That's the question. If you are robbed and you go to the media and say, oh, I was robbed, or you go on social media, I was robbed, and you've not gone to the police station to say, I was robbed, the police won't have that information and they won't know how to curtail that.
So there's no record.
So Fakorede here is saying it's pathetic that the commissioners can come out to say it's just panic report. Yesterday, as at 7 p.m., those guys were on rampage. I live very close to the Abattoir police station. We all had to lock our doors because the guys were collecting people's phones. So these are areas that people are talking about.
So the person whose phone was collected, did he or she report to the police?
And this man is saying, we locked our doors. They were collecting phones. And that's what we've been seeing online. They were collecting. There was gunshots. They said, I was almost attacked. If there is no adequate reports, then the police commissioners have nothing to work with. The DPOs have nothing to work with. We should stop social media reporting and take it a step further.
No report has been filed. So when they said they were collecting phones, they did this, they did that. Those people whose phones are collected, please report to the closest police station, file a report, so that they can then help you trace and find out who stole your phone. They only work with reports. If the police don't have enough reports, they wouldn't be able to curtail what we're going through concerning insecurity in Lagos State. Let's take a few more tweets. I think I have one more call before I go. Ade, are you there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm there.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Please, ordinarily, it is not in my own so when you see a police officer saying something, I don't normally agree with them.
Okay.
But with what the commissioner of police in Ogun State said, it is true. Okay. In my street I talked by yesterday, there was no problem whatsoever. This boy came out around 11. They started making bonfire on the street. I didn't sleep until 3 a.m. Around by 12, they've all gone to sleep. I was awake. By 4 a.m. again, they came out again, started making noise and all those things. They are heightening the tension. That's the truth. I want to agree with the commissioner of police in Ogun State, what he said. Okay. We need to tell these boys that they should maintain the peace. Right. When I saw them, because I was at the vantage position, I saw them with sticks, with cutlass, with shovel, making noise. They are no more than 15. Disturbing the peace of the environment.
We also have somebody sending a message that she drove from her neighbor, which is in that Iju area, to Lekki twice.
And there was nothing,
and she didn't see anything. So we're seeing all these...
so some people are still saying, Olamide Badru says, we have videos and in hundreds, houses have been robbed, police called, but they did not turn up.
So Isaac Chin also says, please, what's the Commissioner of Police in Lagos saying? Just last night, over 50 boys with cutlass and big sticks came to my ex-estate, robbing houses here in Yanokpada, Lagos State. Like we said, Chin also reports to the police.
Adegbola Tomiwa says, four robbers came to my street 1 a.m. Sunday morning. Yesterday, one was arrested in my estate. We had to come out to protect ourselves. And then he sent a screenshot of a conversation he was having while this was happening.
We can then send that to the commissioner. Since we have this, we can take the screenshots of these and send it to the commissioner. So thank you for sending those reports to us. We will forward them to the commissioner for the police because it's important that these incidences are properly reported. That's the only way we can get the police to do something about that, because the idea is to ensure that we feel safe, especially in Ogun State and Lagos State, that this is happening. Unfortunately, that's all we can take on the show today. Once we say, I cannot overemphasize the fact that please report any situation. No matter what happens, report it to the police. At least we have that information for you. So, wash your hands. Don't forget, clean your hands. Use your sanitizers. Maintain social distancing. And avoid touching your eyes and nose. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.